Welcome again to Lex and to Swirl. Here today we are going to print on candles, or we're going to make it look like we're printing on candles. These two candles I purchased from the dollar store. Plain, simple, flat-sided, round obviously, but flat surface. So we are going to use them and our scissors and some tissue paper, also purchased at dollar store. Here we have some graphics that I'm going to put on the candles. I did this by taking Dollar Tree tissue paper and cutting it out a little smaller than an 8.5 by 11 sheet of copy paper, and then I tape it to the copy paper, and that's how I get it to feed through my laser printer. That's important. Don't want to use an inkjet for this. We need to use a laser printer. Inkjet will just run when you start to melt the wax. Wax the melt, yeah. Okay, so we need a blow dryer. That's how we're going to wax our melt. And we also need some wax paper. First, I'm going to cut out my graphic. We'll start with the black and white one. I think it's a little simpler to see everything as I'm cutting and as I'm melting the wax. So I'll start by cutting out with the copy paper still behind it because it's just easier for you to see it that way. And then hopefully I'll be able to separate the two. Yep, I'm going to separate them. Here we go. Separate those pieces of paper. Yay! Okay, so we have our tissue paper with the graphic printed on it. And to make this as easy as possible, we need to cut away as much of the extra outside tissue paper as possible. Obviously, you do not want to cut your graphic. You just want to cut away any unused portion of the tissue paper. That will make things a little easier to hide on the candle. Okay, push that aside. Now I'm going to place my graphic on the candle to give you an idea how I want it to look. And that is not right. We need to turn it around. There you go. We have this pentacle with swirls. You'll notice this is why I picked it. I like the swirls. It's for a witchy friend of mine. And now we get some of that wax paper I mentioned. I had it in my kitchen. It's your basic Reynolds wrap. It's not Reynolds wrap, it's Reynolds wax paper. You knew what I meant, I hope. All right, so we're going to cut off a piece. It has to be bigger than the graphic. And actually having it be bigger than the candle is very helpful, and you'll see why in a second. So putting it down on the graphic, pressing everything in place so nothing moves. We don't want the graphic to move around. We are now going to wrap the wax paper around the candle. And then we can use the loose extra bits in the back to make a tight handle. Hold everything in place while we are hitting it with the heat from our blow dryer. We want to put the blow dryer on high. It's a little painful, so you might want to wear a glove on the hand that's holding the candle. I didn't want to stop in the middle of recording. I sped this up a bit because the first few seconds are basically like watching paint dry. Very boring. But after a few seconds, you will see that the wax paper starts to melt. And you can tell that because the graphic will start to look darker and wet. That is from the melted wax. And in essence, we are melting the wax from the wax paper to add a layer of wax over top of the graphic, thereby embedding it in the candle. This is how we're doing this. So that it won't be just a piece of paper sitting on the outside of a candle anymore. It'll be in the candle. So once we get all of the graphic spots looking dark and wet, you've hit them all and melted the wax properly, we are going to try peeling the wax paper back. If you start to do that and some of the graphic comes away, it means you didn't get it quite melted enough, so you just rewrap it and hit it with some more heat. But basically, if you've got it all looking dark and wet, you can be pretty sure that you're good to go. So here we go. Let's try unwrapping it. See how it looks. And the big reveal is yay, there it is. Okay. So, first one's done. Looks pretty good. Obviously, line art in black and white is very simple. Actually, it's just black. The white is from the candle. So that turned out very nicely. And you can't really see it on the video, but you will be able to see it up close. The tissue paper edges do disappear into the wax. So it really does look like it's printed there. Now let's try the next one with our colored butterfly graphic. Also remember, print it on a laser printer. That's very important. Inkjet it'll run, unfortunately. So now we're going to cut away the extra tissue. I'll speed this up a bit because you've seen me do it once already. In fact, we're going to do a lot of speeding up through this next one because you've seen me do all of it once already. Get out some more wax paper. Grab our other candle and place the graphic how we want it. Okay. And then, yep, there it is. That's how it's going to look when it's done, except there won't be edges of tissue paper showing. Okay, grab that wax paper and pressing the whole thing down to hold it in place. Keeping the wax paper tight against the candle. Make yourself a handle in the back with the extra. Don't rip it. I did that the first time. It works better if you don't rip it. And now you are good to go. So turn your blow dryer on high and start heating it up. And we'll speed this up again. Unfortunately, what I discovered is the black and white showed up really well in terms of the getting darker and wetter looking. It's harder to see with these colors. So you will just have to trust me on this. It does get darker. It does look wet. And once I was done, the graphic was in place, but when I pulled the wax paper away, I could still see the edge of the tissue paper on one side, just one little spot sticking up. I'll point to it. There we go. That's still showing tissue paper. So I took a spot of wax paper that I hadn't used before, and basically what we're doing here by doing this is adding a little extra wax on top of everything we've already added. Just want to tack that down and cover it up with the thinnest layer of melted wax so that you can't see the edges anymore. That's the goal. And then it really does look like the graphic is printed on the candle. So we heat it, melt everything, and pull it off. And there it is. Looks good. Okay, so now we have a beautiful color butterfly and a very nice black and white pentacle with swirls, of course. And I hope you've enjoyed watching this with me today. If you want to like this video, subscribe. I will be posting more. Have a good day, everybody.